hands on sacred books of your choice right now because I need you to be completely honest with both me and yourself. Is the act of you watching this very video on how to stop wasting time on the internet part of a distraction loop you've gotten yourself caught into? Are you procrastinating by watching a video on how to stop procrastinating? It had to be said, because I know after this video a bunch of people are going to go down to the comments and point out the delicious irony in it all, and hey, I just wanted to be the first one. But seriously though, if you want to stop wasting so much time on the internet and get back to work and cut down your procrastination, that is what we are going to get into today, because I have learned a lot over the years on how to be more productive and resist the temptations of online distractions, and I have a lot of different tools and apps that I can point you to which will help you in that crusade. So to start this out, let's just talk about the tools that are probably going to be the most immediately helpful to you, which are website blocking apps and extensions. Basically tools that simply don't let you go to those distracting websites that your brain likes to meander over to when it doesn't want to write its paper. And the one that I use is called Cold Turkey. And you may be familiar with this because in the last video I made, I talked about an app called Cold Turkey Writer. Now, Cold Turkey Writer is a really draconian app that basically turns your computer into a typewriter. It lets you do absolutely nothing except write until you've hit a word count goal. And I think that's really useful for when you're hammering out a first draft for an essay or a research paper, but sometimes you need greater access to your computer. Maybe you need the internet for research, and in those cases, the original Cold Turkey is really useful. The things that I really like about Cold Turkey are, number one, it is cross-platform. It's got Mac and PC versions, and as a Mac and PC guy, it means I can use it across both of my systems. And number two, while there is a paid version that costs about $25 and has some advanced features, there is also a free version which is more than adequate for most people's needs. The process of using Cold Turkey is really simple. First, you define a list of websites that you want to block, and then you create a time window in which you want to block them. And once you hit go on that timer, between now and the end time you selected, you absolutely cannot visit any of the websites you selected. And this is the reason I really like Cold Turkey, because it is really difficult to circumvent. I mean, yeah, if you know sudo nano etc hosts or something, like, you can probably figure it out, but for the most part, you're not going to be able to turn off the blocker and distract yourself during your work time. And this is where it shines over extensions like Stay Focused or Distract Off. These things are kind of hard to disable, but for the most part, you could pretty much figure it out if you really wanted to. Now, Cold Turkey is definitely not the only option out there for website blocking software. There's also things like Hey Focus, Focal Filter, Freedom, Self-Control, and many others, and you can compare their features to figure out which one works best for you. But I will say, if you're having problems with getting distracted and wasting a lot of time online, I think this is the first thing you should do. It's just like somebody who is trying to go on a diet and stop eating junk food. The first thing that person should do is get the junk food out of their house. Remove access to the temptation, so that way you just literally can't go for it, right? And speaking of temptations, I know that some of you, and you know exactly who you are, don't stop at just websites when it comes to finding ways to distract yourself. Maybe you have a Steam account with hundreds and hundreds of games you could jump into. Maybe you're addicted to the Pokemon online trading card game. Whatever it is, sometimes you need a way to lock down more parts of your computer than just the browser. If you count yourself among that group, then you have several different options for fixing that problem. And the first one is to upgrade to the premium version of Cold Turkey, because it can actually block full applications in addition to websites, and that's a really useful feature. But you don't have to get Cold Turkey's premium version to do this, because there are other options, and I'm going to list 3 here in varying degrees of extremity. The first one is to simply create a work account on your computer which you use when you're working. And this will be an account where you don't have access to your games, you don't have access to any fun programs, you only have access to your work software. If that's not enough of a barrier and you find yourself logging back into your personal account to distract yourself, well, number one, you could let a trusted friend set a random password to your personal account and only type it in when you're allowed to take a break, or you could simply use a different computer for your work. If you're on a college campus or you have access to a computer lab or a library computer lab, you could do your work there on a different computer that literally doesn't have any of your favorite software on it. If even that isn't enough, then it's time to come to my final solution, which is to simply ask yourself, do you even need to use a computer? You know, if you're writing a paper, you're doing some research, maybe go hit the books in the library, or go back to pen and paper and just sketch some stuff out, do some handwriting, and then come to the computer only when you need it. So now you know about some tools that can prevent you from getting distracted in the first place, but what do you do when you're currently distracted and you realize that you're procrastinating? Well, here's exactly what I do, and it really boils down to a simple step-by-step mental process that goes on in my brain. First, I basically acknowledge that, yes, I'm distracted, I'm procrastinating, I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing. Then I ask myself, okay, what is the exact next step I need to take on whatever I'm supposed to be working on? Once I have that in my brain, I commit to getting rid of everything in my environment, browser tabs, computer programs, stuff on my desk, everything that isn't related to that one task. And once I've done that, it's time for a Pomodoro session. I set a timer for 25 minutes. I tell myself I'm gonna work on only that exact next step for 25 minutes. And if I finish it, I'll move on to the next one after that. And then I hit go and get back to work. And I found that the Pomodoro technique is really useful for disengaging from distracted web browsing sessions, because sometimes I'm just unmotivated and that's the reason that I'm wasting time online. So if I can motivate myself by defining a very concrete specific task and then defining an exact amount of time I'm gonna work on it, then that's really helpful for me. Now, there is one more really important thing that I wanna say before I close this video out. Yes, the internet is an incredibly powerful distracting force, and there are thousands of companies that are pouring zillions of dollars and man hours into building platforms and systems designed to exploit your short-term sensibilities and distract you. I mean, you're watching this video on one of them. And by consequence, it can be pretty helpful to basically arm your brain with weapons against these systems. The roadblocks, the website blocking applications, these are all tools that can be really helpful for increasing your brain's ability to push out these distractions and temptations and to focus. But remember, this isn't just about blocking distractions out. This is about building a stronger brain, because your ability to focus and pay attention, to block out these distractions, that ability is like a muscle and it has to be trained. And when you throw it into just this complete distracting environment where all the websites that distract you are just a click away, it doesn't have the ability to get trained. So these tools should be thought of as training wheels. They're tailoring an environment in which your brain actually has the ability to grow stronger. But someday your brain can actually cast off these tools and operate within the greater environment while still pushing out distractions and getting great work done. And that should be your overall goal. So now that you have your mission in mind and the tools with which to achieve it, the next step is simple. Get to work. Don't click any of the related videos to the side or down below or wherever they are, just simply get into your next task. Now, if you do happen to be on a break right now and you have a little bit of extra time, you can click subscribe right there if you want to get some new videos every single week on being a more effective student. And you can also click right there to get a copy of my free book on how to earn better grades. I am going to put a video right there, but it's going to be a very specific video. It's only 30 seconds long and, well, you can see what it says.